Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be watching two games in particular. Typically with these videos I'll do a best of one and then a best of three, but today I figured the games were interesting enough to showcase all the games. And so we went undefeated again with a Spright deck that we have previously showcased on the channel, so if you haven't checked that out, link will be in the description for the deck profile. But aside from that, some of the changes that I have made will be showcased at the end. I'll do like a quick rundown of the deck, my current deck, at the very end, so if you guys want to skip to that first, you can. Otherwise, enjoy the rest of the video. Take care. Okay, so for game one, we are going to be watching a Spright mirror match. So this is up against the Adventure Frog Spright played by David. That's me on the right there, well on the bottom there, rolling double sixes. So with this deck, it turns out that every single time you win dice roll, you essentially win the game as well, which means that you don't brick too hard, and that fist bump will signify the start. So in our starting hand we have Starter, Blue, Beaver, Frog, and Jet. And so we're going to activate the Starter in draw phase. And because we have Blue and Jet already, we are of course going to just summon out Red or Carrot. Still doing it in draw phase even though I'm not searching, because if they want to Ash it they can. And not activating in draw phase signifies that I either have talent in the main phase or I don't care about draw. So you might as well activate in draw phase. I'll take 1-2 there. And then moving to main phase, we are going to start with the special summon Jet effect, because I care more about the Jet search than the Blue search, to get double cross. And if he draws me here, it's okay, because at least we still have Blue for the body and we have Beaver, whatever. And then nothing on resolution, so we're going to special Blue searches. For those of you who are asking me about whether or not I like Adventure and what I think about it, I think Adventure, and I replied to this comment a couple of times actually, I think Adventure is for the most part quite good, but I think I prefer the pure version just because it's a bit more consistent in terms of just stopping your opponent and being able to make your own board. And I don't really see the point in having another Omni Negate if I can just, make my board, in which you'll see in a second. There's the link off into Sprint. I will always go for Sprint if I have Carrot and Red already, because it'll take more than 2 hand traps for them to stop me. Well, if they have 2 monster hand traps then it's kind of doomed, but otherwise it's fine. There's the Gigantic effect, which resolves. To summon Swap. Swap is going to then dump Mirror Mage. You guys know the combo, Mirror Mage searches, Freezing Chains. And of course, as usual, shout out to Larry for hosting these tournaments. This is played at Game Traders Hornsby. Feel free to check out their store. Locals are on Sunday normally. And shout out to David as well for mentioning that he watches my videos. That's pretty cool to get support from your local members. There's the Freezing Chains to bring back the Mirror Mage into the Toad. And because we still have the Nimble in hand, we can still go for one more monster. And so we are going to just normal summon. And we're a little bit clogged in terms of zone, so we don't get the full value from Beaver. But I believe I choose to normal the Swap Frog or the same. I was deciding here, I was like double checking, okay, the third swap is not in the graveyard. Do I want to dump? Probably not, because we're going to summon that with Toad instead for IP fodder or Toad fodder. Or even Red or Carrot, like it works out, however you want to use it. There's the IP. And we're going to set the double cross. We still have the Beaver in hand for next turn, although we are going to probably add back another one with Toad. And moving on to his turn, we're going to summon the Swap Frog in the standby phase. And passing priority to him. Moving to main phase. He's going to start with Nimble Manta. So he's playing 4 Nimbles. Of course, he's playing, I believe 3 Angler, maybe 2, but I think 3 Angler and 1 Manta, 3 Beavers. We're going to use IP here to just link off into the SP, targeting his Manta to banish, so we're removing the 2 off his field. And he's going to activate Starter there. It's kind of hard to see, but Starter is very much usable for me, so I'm going to toad that away instead. because I guess I could have used the carrot as well, tributing the Sprint, because Sprint's bounce will no longer be alive if I tribute Toad anyway, because I won't have the Xyz with material. But we're going to use Toad effect to add back the Beaver, and we're going to set the Sprint, set the starter because it is again usable for us. And then we're going to double cross the Toad back. There it is. Toad back under the SP zone. So SP actually works out quite well because, you know, left and right. So we're not going to not summon, if that makes sense. Because IP is kind of awkward. The arrows point down left and right. He activates the second starter there, which is off screen. So that was not visible, but he had an Ash. He drew Ash for turn, which is unfortunate. Although Ash wouldn't have done too much. He could have used on Sprint. Maybe I had to tribute Carrot. I did end up using Carrot to tribute the Sprint and negate the second starter, because starter is, of course, you can only activate once per turn, which Toad negates the activation of, which means you can use 2. Okay, so quickly let's talk about the siding patterns, and there's the life points turned onto the side, so now it's a little more clear who's on what. But for my siding patterns, I actually opted to go for all the, well, first of all, spell trap removal cards, and then we're going with the thrust package that Juan played as well, because I quite like it. Like, you essentially say, okay, either I get to play and you don't hand trap me, or you hand trap me, and if I have thrust, or if I hard draw the traps, whatever, when I'm going first, you don't get to play either. And then when it's going second, you just side in a bunch of like board breaker cards. Your Change of Heart, your Lightning Storm, your Dust Up depending on the matchup, that kind of stuff. And so we're siding out the Melffy stuff as well as the Ice Barrier cards, and then one Swap Frog as well, just for going second. Droplet staying in because it's great for board breaker. Great for board breaker, great to board break maybe. Yeah. And of course, especially in Spright, it feels really good, right? We also put some Cosmics in because they trade 1-for-1 with the traps. And so we're going to force him to either burn the smashes or the double cross. I actually knew that he didn't have double cross, but I would still trade a 1-for-1 just to stop the interruption there, because against a mirror match in Spright, right, you can kind of just assume that they probably won't have follow-up, especially if you've already established your board. You can just use your double cross to take their card instead of getting back the Omni. It doesn't hurt too much either way. Okay, and his deck might look a little thicker than your standard deck because he is running a 50 card, I believe, Spright Adventure package, or deck. So it can be a little bit tougher to draw some of the cards that you actually need sometimes, but that's okay. There's the hand, so Cosmic, Change of Heart, Droplet, Frog, and Jet. Quite a solid hand. No hand traps, so we can just let him do his thing. He starts with Enchantress to search for right. Draw would have been pretty nice here. Yeah, something I also note, draw hurts this deck a lot more than your standard pure Spright. Like your pure Spright deck, you can stop like 1 or 2 searches, which is, you know, a little annoying. You stop either blue, or you stop the Jet search, or you stop the Melffy search, or maybe even stop the Ice Barrier search, which is the most annoying, right? But overall, it's not too bad, whereas for this one you have the Fateful stuff as well as everything I mentioned above, maybe not the Melffys. There's a Clever token, which is quite cute for the Fateful Adventure token. And then he's got a normal summon Beaver, trigger Fateful. Of course, Beaver does not get its effect because he activated right this turn, which stops the normal summon effects of your monsters for this turn. And he's going to search Draco back, the bouncing spell. And then he's going to trigger Fateful to search for Griffin. That is the Omni Negate by shuffling back, not for cost, and he dumps the Draco back. Draco back re-equips itself to the Adventure token, and he summons Griffin Rider to protect himself. Now the issue again with this is that if you don't open any other Spright cards because your deck is so full of random cards like hand traps, whatever, there is a pretty good chance that your turn just kind of turns into like a, oh, if you hand trap me, I'm dead because you have to use a Beaver plus something else to make a sprint. Thankfully this time he drew blue, and so blue searches the Jet, Jet searches the Smashes. And And then there is the Sprint using the, I believe that was Jet and Blue. Yeah, Sprint is going to dump Angler to summon the Manta and one Beaver. Of course, he's summoning Manta over Beaver because you'd rather draw the Beaver over the Manta. The Manta itself doesn't do anything, but it's also just another water that you can discard for your Frog. And then overlay into Gigantic effect, detaching to summon the Swap Frog, and then he goes into his Frog stuff, so Swap Frog's gonna dump Ice Barrier, Mirror Mage of the Ice Barrier, which is then going to search him the spell. And then he's going to link those two into an IP for the SP play, summoning back the Mirror Mage, and then overlay into Toad. I've just noticed that his equip spell, oh no, it's still there, I see it. Okay, so we ended up drawing a second droplet for turn, which kind of sucks. So I was thinking in draw phase here, he was going to summon a swap, but we ended up staying in draw phase because of course we have droplet. And then I let it resolve, and so he summons the Swap Frog out. So to me, right, Toad is kind of awkward because you kind of have to droplet it when it's already on the field, so you have to use it first preemptively instead of as a chain, because of course Toad tributes another monster for cost, or another monster or itself, and so you can't really droplet it if you're trying to negate something else. And so I'm trying to just make a huge droplet play where I use up all the spells plus one monster so he can't negate it, to droplet as many things as possible because everything on his board needs to be hit. And so we go for the change of heart here first. I had to think quite a while on the target, but we are going to target the Sprint in the end. Reason being, if I try and target, let's say, his token or his Griffin Rider, I feel like he's just going to negate it with something else. If I target his IP, he's probably just going to link off with the Swap Rock to make an SP because you essentially trade 1 for 1. If I target the Sprint instead, there's a chance that he might not do anything because he doesn't care, and so I'll get a free link 2 on the board. And if I target Toad, obviously he'll just negate it and take my change of heart, in which case, and in this case he can't actually take my change of heart because his spell trap zones are full. So we're going to target the Sprint to try and take. He says that's all good, and so we are going to then chain the Cosmic, paying 1k, targeting his spell trap in the far right zone, which is Smashes. And before we resolve there, because of course we have droplet, we're going to send 1-2 of the spells that we used just then to try and break his board, as well as the Jet because we need to send a monster just so that he can't negate with Griffin Rider / Toad. And he can't respond. He tries to use Smashes there, but I sent a spell so he can't respond there. Don't really see a point in using Smashes there either. Bit confused by that one, but that's okay. So we're going to negate Griffin Rider, IP, and Toad. So Sprint is still live, but of course because we take it, we no longer care about that. He still has one set back row, which we don't know, as well as one card in hand, I think. And so this way we can at least try and make a play. We can normal the Swap Frog and then try and use its effect. But of course, if we use its effect, and this is why sometimes it's better to keep your Mirror Mage in. At this point, I'm just deck thinning, right? Like maybe he ashes it to try and stop my my Toad, but of course we know that I already sided out the package, and so we can't actually search that. So we're going to dump a Swap Frog just to deck thin a little bit, and we're going to overlay into Gigantic. And so the idea was, if I go for Gigantic here and use this effect and it resolves, then I can summon like my Spright stuff. I can try and break his board a little bit, clear some stuff, and then maybe banish a card with Onobimaru under Blue and Jet. But he ends up ogreing it, which is quite unfortunate, and that ends up just killing my board. So a good attempt on my behalf, if I may say so myself. The alternative was that I get ashed. If I got ashed, then I could attack over something, make a Zeus with 4 mats, because of course Gigantic doesn't lock you if you have your entire effect negated, and then we can just Zeus wipe his board, and then next turn, even though he has follow-up from Toad, we can still Zeus something again, just to clear out the cards in his board one more time, and hopefully that'll be enough to keep me alive until next turn where we draw maybe a starter. but unfortunately not the case. So going first, we have a ton of size that we can actually put in against the Spright Adventure stuff. So we are just siding out right now. I don't quite remember what I sided out actually. Like, even though I can kind of see it. Right now when I'm recording this post-game commentary, the video is kind of to its side. So we're taking out all the going second cards, so Evenly's whatever. I feel like Evenly plus Droplet would have done, you know, wonders against his deck, aside from Toad. Siding out a ton of cards there. From memory, I think it was like 13 cards in total that were siding in and then out. And you'll see later in my deck profile, which I mentioned at the beginning, I'm gonna do like a quick deck profile rundown of like some of the changes that I made. I made it very strong going first against certain cards that would just kill this deck, right? I took out the Droplets because I feel like Droplet is just not good enough going first. You already have X amount of resources, but going second, it's insane, especially with all the going second cards. I took out the Cosmics, of course, and yeah, we're gonna side in like a bunch of really strong going first cards. All the Melffy stuff goes back in. The Frog cards, D-Barriers, all the cringe, like Floodgate cards. And we're also going to put in the 3 Solemns as well as the anti-spell. What I mean by like the cards that kill the Spright deck, like essentially if you win the dice roll, you win the entire game, right? That's what I said at the beginning. And what I mean by that is because you can make such a big board, assuming that they don't have like exactly 2 different hand traps, 2 monster hand traps, or something to just kill your turn. You can make a board that they can't break, which means the only things that can kill you is really just Dark Rule and no more, as well as Evenly or Evenly plus a Droplet, or maybe some kind of a negate on your Carrot and Toad. Even that being said, like maybe you could still double cross your Toad back if they activate anything else in between. You can, you know, negate, try and tribute for cost to negate. Of course, that will not resolve. You get back a card, then you double cross it back. Then your Omni Negate is still live. But anti-spell, if you draw it, just deals with Dark Ruler so well as like random board breakers and makes them use Droplet early on. But of course, it is at 1, so it's a bit hard to consistently draw, in which case you'll never actually consistently draw. It's more like if you draw it, it's quite strong to protect your board. And then Judgment, like it stops Evenly, it stops Dark Ruler, stops like random summons, whatever. You can stop like a Snake Eye Ash summon to just potentially blank their turn entirely. Yeah, in this case, I'm probably going to try and stop Nimble Beaver. Okay, and here goes game 3. So game 3, we are of course going to go first. Our opening hand consists of D-Barrier, Carrot, Ash, and Fenrir. So a bit of a clunky, awkward hand. We're going to go Fenrir, summon. Of course, we can go for the Sprint with the Carrot, or we can normal summon an Ash, summon like an SP and a special with the Carrot. We don't really want to go for Gigantic there though, because we just lose to 1 hand trap and we go through too many resources. I think D-Barrier alone is quite strong against the adventure stuff, so I'm just going to set a D-Barrier and just going to pass. We're going to wait until we draw another level 2. Hopefully blue or beaver. So he is going to do the exact same thing because he has like 47 hand traps in hand. And so he's going to set 1 monster and then he's going to set a back row as well. And he's going to pass turn back to me. So we're going to search, draw for turn, draw into the double cross. Double cross kind of makes it interesting because then we can actually go for like a sprint by linking off an Ash. No, sorry, not an Ash, like a Carrot. And even if it doesn't resolve, we can still, you know, double cross something back, but that will happen next turn. So we're not going to go for the play this turn just yet. If he sets 1, that means he doesn't have plays either, which means we can use, you know, the Ashes to stop whatever he ends up going for, and D-Barrier worst case scenario. And we are going to switch the Fenrir to attack to just punch over the monster. We can take it nice and slow and just chill. I think it's quite important to know when you are able to just take it easy, when you don't have to take risks, right? Like seeing this fat hand in his obviously signifies that he has like 16 hand traps that we will not be able to play through. And so going for a risky play like that just isn't worth it. And there's the Ogre, which also indicates that he probably has like another Ogre in hand because he'll probably want to hold one for Gigantic. It's too strong against it not to, right? He sets another one and passes. Then we draw the blue. A very good draw. So we're going to go for the plays. There's the carrot normal summon. And then the special blue effect. And here is a misplay on his behalf because he goes to imperm the blue to try and stop me from extending further. I don't think that's correct because I probably would have gone for gigantic here, which you could have just impermed. I end up using carrot to negate it. And then he ends up going for the other set card, which you'll see in a second, which is Droplet. He sends the imperm for cost to try and negate carrot. I was kind of like, yeah, sure, okay. Of course, if you guys haven't realized yet, imperm, the target that imperm tried to hit has already been removed. And so even though you're negating carrot and carrot no longer negates imperm, it doesn't matter because the target's off the field. And so we search the jet and we resume playing. We're going to special the jet there. And we're going to go from there. So even if he hypothetically did hold the droplet, he tried to imperm the blue, we would have made a gigantic. Even if he, droplets out gigantic, then we'll probably link into Fenrir, link with the Fenrir into a sprint, and we also have double cross alive at that point. So here comes the jet to search, and then we're going to then go for a mannequin cat. So I went for a rather interesting play here just because I was a bit afraid of Nib, so I wanted to play it slow again. I just went out for his life points, swinging slowly. Again, same position. We rather play it slow and safe, right? With his hand, there was a good chance that he had like a lot of hand traps, and so there was no harm in just like playing it slow and just trying to see if we can just swing him down to game. And he ends up using, I can't really see there actually. I think it's a Cosmic maybe? Oh no, he's a Duster. He's a Duster to try and clear my back row. And so I go double cross to put the blue under the mannequin for extra material and the barrier calling Xyz. And that is the end of the game. For the next match, we're going to be playing up against Hiran, who is playing Pearly. And we are going to win the dice roll yet again, opting to go first. And that marks the start of the game, drawing 5 for each. He's interestingly using the same sleeves as me. And our opening hand, we have Fenrir, which we summon straight away. We activate Starter in the main phase after we summon the Fenrir, of course. To summon blue, we take 1/1. And then we are going to trigger blue to search for Jet. And what I should have done here is search for another copy of Fenrir as well here for the sake of it, but yeah. There's the quick pause just to get the life points in place, so -1/1 off of Starter. For those of you wondering, do I activate Starter during the draw phase? Yes, draw phase, Starter, unless you have Fenrir, because Fenrir is still priority number 1, just to get the free body on field and the free banish. We're going to search off Jet there to search double cross, and then Fenrir searching for another copy, just to replenish the hand advantage. And then we are going to overlay into a gigantic here. Gigantic is going to successfully resolve its effect. So detaching to summon Swap Frog effect, dumping. And then Ice Barrier, Mirror Mage, searching for the spell. I go for the Swap Frog here because I have the double cross as well as I believe one more card in hand. To normal summon, and so I can then just make a sprint and get everything else online. If I don't have blue and Jet, I'll probably just summon blue and Jet instead, because the 2 bodies off that plus the double cross is just too good to give up. And there's a Mirror Mage into the Toad. And then we're going to link using the Fenrir, so never mind, I didn't have another monster in hand that I could normal summon, or maybe I did in the form of a hand trap, but there's the sprint with the Fenrir and the gigantic. Sprint effect to dump. Dumping the Angler. And then Angler's effect to summon 2 beavers. And then I will use those 2 beavers to, of course, make the Melffy stuff. There's the overlay into forest. We're going to trigger forest, attaching for cost to search for a caddy. And then we're going to use the caddy effect to summon itself during the end phase. And we'll set 2 cards and we will pass priority here. So we know 1 is double cross, and I believe 1 was either starter or droplet. During the standby phase, Toad effect of course to summon another copy of Swap Frog, and Swap Frog's going to activate on summon to dump another copy just to deck then again. And during the main phase, Heron is going to open up with a Pearly. Pearly using its effect to search for the top 3. And we're going to trigger caddy of the effect of the normal summon of the Pearly. And he's going to just double check that. We let the effect through because we wanted to trigger the Melffy stuff first, and because we can then use Forest to stop the Pearly rank up effect from hand. If he hits a spell, it's fine. There's the Penny. Because he didn't hand trap us at all there, he either drew 0 hand traps or he has like a full board breaker build, which isn't normally the case for Pearly because they want to draw a bunch of cards. There's a Chalice, a Veiler, and a Pearlily, which is a miss, and then Melffy of the Forest is going to trigger on resolution to target Pearly to finish chain it. And we're not going to summon the Penny straight away just because we can use its effect to special summon whenever we want, and then we can trigger Sprint as well. Also because if he did hold Dark Ruler for some reason, he might just be trying to bait us to make us summon the Herald first before Dark Ruling us. So this way we can kind of protect ourselves a bit better. There's Sleeping Memory to obviously to summon, but also to take 0 damage this turn, discarding the Nib. We played through that because we summoned Gigantic first. To summon another copy of Pearly. Pearly effect is going to trigger yet again to look for 3. I let it through. And I'm not super worried here because like he's going -1 every time he summons, but unfortunately for him, he misses again. That's Prosp, Imperm, and Nib. So now we can see where all the hand traps went. And it's just double checking the effect of Sprint here. And here he is going to go for an Anima play using the defense special summon Pearly to link off into Anima, and he's going to try and take our Swap Frog, which is basically more fodder for Toad because we can Toad Tribute itself, add back a Beaver, and then we can summon back the Toad using Double Cross. Then we can keep the Toad for next turn by sending the Swap Frog if he chooses to do something again, and so we are going to just Sprint bounce the Anima before he uses its effect. If he wants to do it again, that's fine, then we can just Toad it. So we effectively trade pretty well there because we remove a body and we make him go through Anima. So we're attaching off Toad there because Toad is likely going to send itself at some point during this turn, and so its Xyz probably won't stay, even though Melffy of the Forest also won't be too useful with the material there. At least we'll potentially be able to maybe make a Zeus, or we can detach off Gigantic because it's going to stick around. He chains Chalice on the Sprint to try and negate its effect and also to decrease its attack points. We're going to Toad there just to negate it, and we'll take the Chalice because that's useful. So bounce goes through, and then on resolution, Toad is going to target Beaver to add to hand. That is all good and dandy. And then I think he uses Chord, but oh no, Pretty Memory. So channeling 2 Pretty Memory because he wants to not get it, not let it get hit by Toad. I think I might have had an Ash here as well, but there's the Double Cross to bring back the Toad, so that in the new chain, we'll be able to then negate his Pearlily, which I'm assuming he's going to summon now. There's the discarded Pearlily. So his opening hand was Pearlily, a Memory, Sleepy Memory, 1 normal White Cat, and a Nib. so far. And there's the Lily. Now we have Toad back in case we want to negate the Lily if he uses Effect on Summon. I believe he opts not to, just because obviously we are going to negate that with Toad or Imperm or whatever. Well, some kind of negate. And I chose to use the Penny here because I feel like at this point, like, it's quite unlikely he'll have a Dark Ruler, so we'll just summon the Penny just for the extra Omni negate. And so that also it's a mini D fissure. He's going to overlay here. For the assembled Nightingale to attack directly, and this is of course his Zeus line, so he can attack directly, get in some damage, summon Zeus. But yeah, attack goes through, we'll take 400, he attacks again for another 400. And then main 2, he's going to summon Downed into a Zeus. But of course the Zeus is not good enough here just because we have 2 Omni negates plus back row. And I think he had like 1 or 2 cards in hand, maybe potentially 0. And yeah, he ends up scooping here. And that was the set, so the second set was the starter and we had Ash in hand. I should have just ashed his second memory, but I wanted him to use up all his cards, just in case there was some like random card I didn't know. I figured like with 2 Omni negates there's no pain with just like holding the Ash, why not, right? But it really didn't matter in the end. Moving on to game 2. So same thing, we're going to start siding out the Ice Barrier cards as well as the Melffy cards. I find that if I don't have enough going second cards to side in against some decks, I will just keep the Ice Barrier cards. But typically that is not the case because we'll have a lot of board breakers going second, e.g. Change of Heart, Cosmic, that kind of stuff. Against Pearly it's kind of weird. You mainly want, I believe you want like, I guess, spell trap removal to get rid of the recursion from the field spell as well as My Friend Pearly. And then you want to keep droplets in against the Noir because there's no real way to out it otherwise aside from just like hitting over it. You can try and summon a big gigantic using like a link. Most of the time it's going to be Sprint plus any other body. But by then, like if he chooses to bounce something back, it's kind of wraps for either you or him because he's made it unaffected. He's made it affected, or because you're probably going to lose your board because he's bouncing everything back. So droplets stay in, Cosmics are going in, Duster, Lightning Storm, it works. And here goes round 2. So naturally against Pearly, we still want to open hand traps. It's not just for board breakers because we need to be able to stop them from making the big cat in some way or another. The issue with this deck is that if they draw the field spell, it's so strong against like things like Morna, Imperm, and Veiler, where you can't just like stop their black cat from resolving. And so if they open both, it's probably like wraps unless you have some way to get rid of the fat cat, especially because now that I think Feast, just Delicious, no, not Delicious, is it Delicious? Delicious Memory is now at 2. Some of the bodies are quite substantial and hard to run over. Might need like a Gamma Burst plus a Gigantic, like a buff Gigantic. There's the Prosp to open up. We drew 0 hand traps. I saw Droplet there and Lightning Storm and a couple of other cards. So he's going to reveal 6, grabbing. There's a Delicious actually. Delicious, Chalice. Chalice is an interesting tech. 2 Palilies, a Veiler, and My Friend. He opts to grab the My Friend, which loses really hard to draw actually, but maybe he just wanted it in hand because he didn't want to search it with the Black Cat. So in hindsight, I'm pretty sure he ends up searching for the trap with the Black Cat, which I don't know. I don't really think that was correct to grab my friend if you're going to search with Black Cat anyways. And like the trap can be searched with the little Xyz Noir. So you don't actually need to search the trap there. There's a Sleepy. To summon. Oh no, sorry, he's revealing 3 right now. So it's 2 Sleepies, which lets you draw 1 during the standby phase, as well as a Delicious. So we're going to dice roll. And it's 2, so here's the first one. There's this Street. Street is very strong again, so if I had an Impim or Veiler, they're just dead now unless he chooses to normal summon it as well. Sleepy Memory to summon discarding the Ash. To summon a Black Cat. Black Cat effect to search. And this is the part I was talking about. Like if he just searched for the My Friend Pearly instead here, I think it would have been better than searching for the trap. Alternatively, he could also just maybe search for a White Cat that he can normal summon, which I think we talked about afterwards. And there's the Black Cat. I'm pretty sure Black Cat's effect lets you just search if you activate a quick play spell. Maybe you didn't have one in hand. Maybe that's it. So you could go for the gamble, I guess. Search for a White Cat normal summon, and then if you hit one, then you can set the trap as well. This is the safer play. And so he sets 2. Noir has 3 materials because of a field spell. He attaches another Sleepy to it, and now he draws 2. And then he's going to rank it up with Yeep to summon the big Black Cat, Expellier Noir. But it has 4 materials, not 5, and so it is affected. It can be affected, but it can't be targeted because of the field spell. Also, if you're playing this deck and or my deck or whatever deck, but you're playing Talents as well, keep in mind that you cannot Talents the Noir to then make a Zeus because the Noir was summoned this turn, and so you can't switch the battle position. I have forgotten that a couple of times. A bit ashamed, but it is what it is. There's the Lightning Storm to blow away his back row, and this was exactly what I was talking about. Like, back row removal is so strong against this deck. If you do eventually remove the Black Cat, or if you grind him out enough because he uses all the bounces, then you basically are able to stop his recursion, which, you know, even though he got his draws at the beginning during the standby phase, it'll make it harder for him to crack back. Hitting a D-Barrier. He D-Barrier causes Xyz, which turns off his Noir as well. No other play you really could have made there. We actually played this back again afterwards. I think that was the correct play. Turn off your own Noir because it can be affected anyway. Starting off with the Fenrir. Fenrir is pretty good, and then we normal summon the carrots. Keep in mind we had Droplet as well, so if he didn't choose to use it, then we'll just Droplet, send the Lightning Storm, targeting the Noir, and then that will be negated for the turn. So it's essentially the same, I just don't go through with Droplet, and he gets to show off my Xyz, which was definitely good. Special the Jet there, and Jet's going to search. I'm just deciding on what he's going to... sorry, there I'm reading the effect of the barrier because I just wanted to make sure that he couldn't use his Noir. Jet gets met with a Veiler, and on resolution we are going to just Fenrir to banish the Noir face down. In hindsight, once again, I think he definitely misplayed here because he could have gone for a second Veiler on the Fenrir to negate the Fenrir as well, so that his Black Cat does not get removed. Although I did have an SP as well, so I could remove it, but it'll be very resource intensive and could have been a difference maker. And of course I could have made the SP using maybe like a Phoenix. I believe I was running Phoenix in that deck. Phoenix with like Fenrir and Jet, and then like go those two into the SP. Even if he chooses to negate an SP with maybe like a third Veiler or something, I would still be able to just banish the Black Cat off the field, and then next turn it'll have no materials, can't use this effect, whatever. And it bounces back. No, it doesn't bounce back because the trap doesn't recognize it as the same card, because of course the trap resets. And those... that is a monster effect activator, so we're going to Talent to look at his hand. There is a second Veiler, then I think a Palili and a Prosp. There might have been a fourth card that's not on camera, I don't quite remember. But I had a good think about this, about like what I should hit, because what are my plays right now that I could make Well, Fenrir is going to search. We want to be able to maybe make a Sprint SP. Although Fenrir kind of just like trades 1 for 1. I think he might have had another memory. Now that I think about it, I don't remember. No, he didn't have a memory. Otherwise, he would have used the Black Cat to set the trap instead. So Talents is going to hit Prosp. Yeah, there's a 4th card. It looks like a monster though. Prosp because I don't want him searching for like any board breakers or more cards that he could use more favorably, because those cards like I can kind of play around, right? Like Vela is a dead card. I think the rest were all manageable as well. Like the Black Cat, if he searches for a spell, sure. I can then Fenrir banish the Black Cat, and then the spell will just be met with the spell that he searches off of my friend will just be met with a carrot, like tributing off the jet. And so we set 1 more card, which I believe... Oh, I actually don't remember now. We'll find out later on. I'll pass Pyro there with 1 card in hand, and we'll just wait for him to do something. I think the card in hand is Fenrir because we searched. Yeah, it is. And he starts with a Pearly, a White Cat. Grabs the pretty memory, so he finally hits a memory off of the White Cat. And then we're going to use Fenrir to banish the Pearly face down. And he's checking if Carrot can negate the effect as well as activation of a spell or trap. Which of course it can. I think my logic there was that even if he hit a memory of the Pearly, and the Pearly might have been the card that I thought was Pearly, because this is in post, I would still be able to just Carrot negate it. D-Barrier discarded there. Oh right, yeah, D-Barrier was the 4th card in his hand the previous turn. Or maybe, yeah, sorry, he drew it. No. It was the 4th card. I remember seeing D-Barrier there. D-Barrier, Vela, Prosp, and White Cat was his hand, and then he drew something else for turn. Yeah, so he discards the barrier. Don't quite remember why. Maybe there's a memory off camera that we can't see. Oh yeah, so he discards the barrier with Pretty, and then summons Pearly. We are going to Droplet, sending the Fenrir, because we want to Droplet the Pearly over banishing it with Fenrir, because we want to stop both effects, just in case somehow manages to get another one out. So Dropletting the Pearly is quite big there, and we know he has Vela only, and he can't play through all these cards here. So next time we can search for Fenrir, we can make Gigantic. If it doesn't work because he Velas it, we can go for the Sprint instead. No longer able to do a Gigantic play because he goes for Pretty, and we negate that with Carrot so he doesn't get the extra summon. And so he has like a Vela and a Dream right now. And so if we draw any 2 here, it's huge. If we draw Sprint, it's still fine because we can beat it over. It trades 1 for 1 with the Vela. And we get more hand advantage with another Fenrir as well. So if he removes our Sprint, we're just playing top deck, but we have Fenrirs. There is the Vela. I think I try to search with Fenrir first, and then he Velas it. This is because his life points are low already. So if we go for the Fenrir, banish the Pearly, and just attack with both of them, that will be game. And so there's the Sprint. Like either way, he's going to be dead. No real play he could have made there. So dumping the Angler, and then he has no cards in hand, so we're just going to go for the simple play of Onibimaru instead of going for Gigantic, summoning whatever. Onibimaru is going to banish, and we just swing with both for game. Okay, so this is what I promised, another updated deck profile on this winning deck. I'm going to try and speedrun through this because I know this video is already quite long. I mean, if you skip this part, then it isn't, but that being said, let's jump into it. So we'll have Triple Beaver, and then we have the 6 starters in total, so Swap Frogs as well, Triple Swap Frogs, 2 Anglers, Triple Blue, Triple Jet, and then we have a Red, a Carrot. I still like those ratios of 1-1. Triple Starter, Gamma Burst, Double Cross, Mirror Mage and the Freezing Chains, plus the 2 Melffy cards. And then for the non-engine, we have 3 Ashes for hand traps, 3 Imperms, 3 Fenrirs. I will never not play these cards, like Board Breakers, Monster for Sprint, Recursion in hand. It's just so good. 2 Talents, 2 Thrusts, and triple Droplet. So Thrust I main deck because you can search the double cross if you're going first, or an Imperm, worst case scenario, or you can go into like a Talents going second. And then for the extra deck, 2 Gigantics, 1 Sprint, 1 Toad, Downerd and Zeus with the Soul Sweeper, Mannequin Cat, Herald, Mosquito, Melffy of the Forest, Herald of the Arclight, IP, SP, and Phoenix. So just as an FYI, I actually played the Almirage instead of the Herald of the Pure Light for this tournament, but neither of them ever came up, so I didn't really need them. I think Herald will come up more than the Almirage, but Almirage gets you out of the situation entirely if you draw the 1 card brick, whereas Herald is used to just make your board a bit stronger because you get 2 Melffys, sorry, not Melffy, 2 Nimbles from your deck if you happen to draw 2. And then for going first, side cards. So I talked about it briefly in the video. I actually just opted to play cards that beat it exactly like Dark Ruler or like an Evenly Plus Negate. And so it's heavily favored against those cards. And I think those cards are the only ones that can actually beat you if you're going first, if you're able to set up properly. So we have 1 Anti-Spell, Triple Judgment, 1 Black Red Yuck. We have 2 D-Barriers for setting if you get hand trapped and you're playing the what do you call it? Thrust. DDG, so again taking away from Juan's video, or his deck profile, where DDG just turns off, let's say a Snake Eye player's turn, because you banish everything. Magic Deflect actually comes up more than you'd think. It's pretty nice siding in against a lot of decks, because a lot of decks have field spells that search or quick play spells. 2 Cyclones, 1 Lightning Storm, 1 Duster, 1 Change of Heart, and 2 Evenly for the going second cards. Same idea, you thrust into them. Thrust in the main deck is a bit iffy, but I had 39 cards before the 2 thrusts, and I wanted to just throw in a card. I don't really want to play main deck Cosmic, and so thrusts actually will do something more often than Cosmic, in my opinion. And that is all. I hope you guys enjoyed. Laters.